Okay, so here we are after a short delay. We apologize. But like every week
Oh
so
my.
far, I mean, what can you expect? We're here with the third place decider match between Team KDA and Fearless. Fearless being moved down here from yesterday as they were going to play in our semifinal match, second semifinal match, that is. But they were busy with another tournament, I believe. So by default, it was
Astro
Astral
Esports.
that continued on through. So, I mean, top seed sitting up in the finals now up against Evo X, which will be played later today. But here we are with this match for today. My name's I Request to Duel, otherwise known as Delta Baka, and joining me once again, I've got Slice.
Hi guys, welcome to the third place match of Pine League. The third place decider match today between Team KDA and Team Fearless. And there has been quite a bit of a delay, a bit of miscommunication here and there, but we finally are able to get things started. So the match should be starting soon.
Yep, and before that, I'm sure you guys know by now, but just a quick rundown. We've got Team KDA, Bomby Nation, Yukino, Roseblower, Fenglin, and Hookin and me, which is actually Slice over here. And then we got Fearless, Neo Cosmo, Jacobs, Razorlicious, I'm a Badass, Raylene Shaw, and a Q and H. And to kick it off, let's go right into the draft with KDA on the blue side here.
So KDA over Samfong, hovering over Fortress, and looks like they are going to take out that Fortress. They don't want to deal with a very divey comp coming from the side of Fearless, especially when Neo Kazuma has quite a bit of obscure hero pool right there. So they don't want to deal with that.
Yep, and we will see the ban in return being the Grumpjaw ban. Kind of surprised neither team have gone for those mid bans, which we saw last night being picked up, say the Magnus and Celeste being banned out. But instead, it's going to be targeting the something. In response to this, I'd assume the Magnus ban will come through just to stop KDA from getting a hold of it. But they go for the Reza ban and leave Magnus open. And more than likely, KDA are going to pick that one up for themselves.
Remember, Yates is also open in this scenario.
Ooh,
and
true.
One of the reasons why KDA wants to ban away Samfong is because I think they are more comfortable with taking Yates in their team comps as compared to Samfong. And however, this smart idea of leaving Magnus open forces KDA to take the Magnus, which grants Fearless the Yates pick. So that's a really smart ban right there. And it also prevents KDA from getting a very bursty hero onto squishy carries if the South Fearless were to play heroes like Scarf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so although KDA could have gone and banned out, say, the Celeste, just to limit the pool of mages in the mid lane, they did focus on what you mentioned, where a lot of those heroes that really good in the front, like Fortress, if Fortress was able to help engage for his team, because he's still quite strong. But instead of diving in more so onto the side of KDA, it looks like they're going to be bringing the fight to them with that Yates pickup. In retaliation to that, we've seen the Adagio and the Grace pick. Now, I'm personally a bit on the fence about Adagio. I know he was good in the previous update, and he didn't. I don't think he got much changes, or if any. But I think he's still all right. However, I just think there are better top lane picks. For example, the Lance pick that they picked up for themselves, the CC that it brings to the table, I think is a lot better than the potential poke and sustaining that Adagio has. But that's just my opinion when we go into those team fights or situations, into the ganking and all that.
And we see a Sky pickup on the side of Fearless in response to that Adagio and Grace. So Sky, it's kind of looking to get more play right now, and I think Sky is a really good hero, especially when it comes to very divey and close range comps. And not to mention, Sky's ultimate is good at separating teams. So we might have to see how KDA might want to deal with that.
Yep, and now KDA kind of deciding between the Arden and the Lorelei pick. They end up going for the Arden, and I think this is good alongside the Magnus. You can very much be more focused on directly saving the Magnus, whereas if you have Lorelei, your team would be more about getting the engages, and that wouldn't be bad either because that stun is up so often, and you'll be able to CC it well with other heroes on your team. But Arden, not a bad pick at all. And on the side of Fearless, we do have that Ozo pick for
Also,
Neo Kazuma finishing off that team comp. So quite aggressive comp coming out from the side of Fearless. I like it. For the side of KDA, you've got overall a good comp together, a decent amount of CC. I think both teams did fairly well in this draft.
yes, draft-wise, both teams did really well. Like, for example, the side of KDA has quite a bit of CC to deal with, like you mentioned, and the damage coming out from Magnus, coming out from Yuva could be a bit bursty. And then the side of Fearless, well, they also have quite a bit of CC, and then they also have the engage that comes out of Lance Impale or say Ozo jumping into Team KDA and getting the whole team in with Warthread. So it's really about who has the better engage or who can basically protect their carries from the other team engage. So it's more dependent on peeling, I guess.
Now, this is something I would have wished you talked with your team after last night's matches. We had the semifinals last night, and you were up against Team
Evo
X, and it was Evo X are doing a similar strategy to what Fearless are doing right now. Fearless not quite at the extent, but you might have noticed in your games there that Evo X at the start of each game were buying multiple Stormguard banners, and this allows them to clear objectives quicker. And it's not so bad in this current situation. However, you can see that Yates and Oso both have a Stormguard banner for themselves, and this might give Yates an opportunity to get the steal here. You could see a big amount of damage going off there, but I just didn't time it right. However, the more members you put that Stormguard banner on, the better off you are with that, and it really played well into Evo X with their invading kind of strategy. And my advice there is to really counter that is to have just do the same. Just at the start of your game, you have multiple members, maybe the bot lane being the only one without the Stormguard banner, so they can still focus on just farming.
Yes, we did notice about the Stormguard banner. Like after a match, we had a talk with Optic Laser about what was going on, why everyone just went for Stormguard banner. And while we were discussing, I was thinking to myself that the reason might be also because you got to remember it does true damage, so you can just do a bursty chunk of damage when Stormguard is up. And meanwhile, I'm talking Iron Badass going so low, Blaver almost finishing him off. But Iron Badass got to pop that healing flask. Don't want to die early game to Blaver under his turret. Yep. So as I was saying, maybe because you got a Stormguard banner, right, it helps you secure the enemy jungler easier. Like the enemy jungle farm easier. So basically during your invades, you can just try to have 4 people with Stormguard banner invade together and try steal the enemy jungle farm. Because remember, a buff also gives you a passive, which is either the
meanwhile, up in the top lane, Raise Delicious getting jumped on, but they use the 4 barrage to get away, and they're even going to confidently back right in front of them, kind of knowing that they're safe. Shows a level of confidence there. Meanwhile, we have 3 men in the mid lane. So far, no kills being going over. It's 2 minutes 50 in, reaching that 3-minute mark. Team's gonna start to rotate around for their second clear of the jungle. But so far, let's see. Not really anything noticeable in terms of gold lead or anything. Both teams fairly even at this point. And so it's really hard to say where things might go based on, as we mentioned, the team comp earlier. I think when it comes to the late game, heroes to look out for is obviously going to be that Celeste and Magnus on both sides. Those mid lane mages more than likely going to be powerhouses if neither team really gets ahead too far. say, snowballs for other team. So right now, it's hard to say, but we'll see where things go from here. In terms of engage, really the team, they have a good, for the side of KDA, they have a good few options for both engaging and disengaging. Disengaging, they could either use a defensive gauntlet, the Verse of Judgment, or maybe even Holy Nova, the knock-up from Grace. If they're able, say, maybe Ozo or Lance jumps in and then you're able to stun them up, you could even turn fights around because of potential like that. We've also got to think about the Ilva in play, where that ultimate can really lock up a few members of the enemy team. As we see here, they jump in onto the Ilva, the pull comes on through onto Rose, and they should be able to secure the first blood of the game. So Fearless able to get that one there with a mix of CC thrown in, and no real escape for Rose. So for now, we're going to take that probably back off into... I was going to say the enemy jungle, but perhaps they know it's cleared. They don't have any vision of their own. Meanwhile, Grace going to be picked up from the sky up in the top lane. And we could see previously Razorlicious fairly confident with that. But back to the bot lane as we see Fanglen has joined in the fight, and he's going to go on to Q and H, forcing Neo Kazuma into the front lines here. But he isn't afraid of a fight as Rose is going to get pulled back in once again. And I'm not sure if this is a fight they can win, but Bommy might have something to say as he comes along, picks up the kill onto the Lance, and Ozo gets shut down under the turret. So 2-2, flipping it back, keeping it even for KDA and Fearless.
Yeah, that was... Alright, the kill on Rose was a bit of a problem because they didn't have vision of that bush. Right now, Ranisha going in and trying to finish off Feng Lin, and Feng Lin goes down trying to clear the healing camp.
Oh my god, that Yates, and you can see why people ban the Yates pick. It is just so strong, and especially with the way I'm Badass is playing Yates right now, not just staying in mid lane, but rotating everywhere around the map. And that's what we've seen a lot of the teams have success when they allow their captain to be kind of like a third jungler in a way. I mean, the sub role is roamer, it's not just captain, so really playing towards that and helping out across the map to secure some kills.
Yeah, as a captain, the best option is to actually be able to impact different lanes as much as possible, not just the mid lane, but maybe even bot. And right now, Bombi getting outnumbered here. Neo Kazuma almost finishing off Bombi. Ooh. And the Wolf's Maw from Yates misses onto Bombi. That was a really good escape there for the side of KDA. And that was a close kill for Fearless. So pretty good attempt right there.
Fearless making their rotation down to the bot lane, actually forcing out the boots from Fanglen down there. And now 3 men in bot once again pushing this minion wave in. And they have a range there because of the Celeste, so we're going to go ahead and start doing some work on this tier 1 tower. More than likely going to take it. Look at the damage coming through between the 3 of them. Easy cleanup, easy clear. But back up to top once again, where Fearless are also putting the pressure down. Here comes Rose trying to look for the stun, but it's just kept at bay with the range of that 4 barrage. Meanwhile, I think the chase is still actually going on down in the bot. There's going to be Neo Kazuma trying to jump in the front line, but not really going to get anything out of it. And it seems like it too, even though Fearless, I really like this, how they were active at the bot side and the top side of the map, really able to get the most out of the pressure there. So you see Fanglen using the block to block that Impale. Question is, will Rose really be able to capitalize on anything here? They have the vision in that riverside, so Fearless should feel fairly safe right now and be able to back out, but they don't. They get caught out in the stun, in the ultimate, and that's going to be 2 kills over to the side of KDA. I think they felt safe. They thought, okay, we can just back here, but KDA rush in for the kill. Now question is, will Neo Kazuma and Raylin Shah catch out Bommy on their own? Already going low half. Ozo jumping in deep, but ooh, there's going to be the root on him, actually stopping the Bangarang. And Arden not going to be able to get the gauntlet down. Meanwhile, we see Ilva running for her life, trying to get safety while fighting off, protecting this crystal tree or trying to secure it for themselves. But Q&H with the body blocks, will they get it? No, Bommy manages to secure it for themselves, and Rose boots on out of there. So KDA keeping their jungle for themselves.
So right now, in terms of gold, Fearless is still ahead right here, but KDA is slowly looking for some pretty good fights, I would say, and Ambada's just gonna steal that top lane healing tree, and right now top lane getting mowed down right now. We see Resilitions just taking down that turret, and there goes the tier 1 tower on top side for Team KDA. And Yukino getting chased down by Iron Banners and Resilitions, barely survives. Divine Intervention comes in and heals himself up, and probably gonna do a safe recall knowing that the wave is still up there. Iron Banners getting spotted out by Blair in the bush. Resilitions and Iron Banners trying to engage on the Blair, but that's not gonna be enough. And right now,
This looks like a slight engage from the side of KDA. At least they use their boots in, but not really getting anything out of it. Blauer doesn't have the gauntlet up just yet. Crucible to block out that stun or that pull from the Yates, and they're going in deep here. But there's going to be the Ozo coming in with Bangarang onto Magnus, trying to be that key target. He turns around with the ultimate, the Seraphic Flare. They pick up a kill for themselves. They've separated Razorlicious on that Sky in a 1v3 situation. Should be an easy kill, but that Surrey Strike to get away. They're going to get chased down, and more than likely are going to go down unless QNH has something to say about it. He jumps in with the Giffian wall, but it's not going to be enough. Sky ends up falling in the end, and there's going to be the follow-up chase trying to catch out on Badass, who's so very low, but QNH saves his life because it allows him to use the ultimate to get out of there. However, trading over his own, he shall fall in just a second here, and there's going to be another kill for the side of KDA. So overall, that fight very much in KDA's favor. I don't think they even lost anyone during that fight, so very well played by them. QNH tried his best to save his team, but it wasn't enough.
so that was a really good fight by KDA because the members of Fearless were really scattered around, and then KDA was just going for each of them one by one. Blair getting pulled in, and right now Blair's gonna go down to the hands of Neo Kazuma, and I am badass.
Yeah,
really,
it still shows that even in these sort of singled out situations when they're on their own, they really need to be careful of that Yates. And right now, Fearless charging on into the enemy jungle. The pull over the wall catches out Bomby, the Impale not going to connect, and Divine Intervention not going to come through in time. The Magnus going to be picked up with ease for the side of Fearless. And a few kills going back in their favor, almost evening it out. 7-6 right now, but gold actually in favor for Fearless, 30.6k over to 27.9. KDA playing aggressive again. Neither team really backing off or playing too passively so far, which is it's exciting to see as a commentator, but we'll have to see whether which team is going to make a big mistake first, as Ghostwing and Blackclaw is almost up on the rise, so there's a lot at stake here if they lose a big team fight coming on through.
Yes, the next fight could mean a Ghostwing or Blackclaw to whichever team that wins, so the next fight is going to be a very important fight here. But as you can see so far, Fearless showing how problematic giving over Yates to your enemy can be. Just pulling in targets all day, Feng Lin almost getting stunned up by Yates and Celeste.
Ooh, the poke coming through from the Magnus as well, but we have two very strong heroes that managed to get through into this game specifically right there. Meanwhile, Neo Kazuma and QNH kind of just left on their own to push down that tier 2 tower, so while the rest of KDA were busy mid trying to get something going on there, they weren't able to get, but it looks like they might be able to be able to pick up these 2 kills here, and there's going to be I'm Badass trying to turn things around for his team, but not really going to make a difference in the end. Gauntlet was used, so ult traded out for ult there, and KDA going to be able to pick up the 2 kills. Do you think it's worth it, 2 deaths for a tier 2 tower in that situation?
Alright, at this point, because KDA didn't go for that Ghostwing, I don't think it's really that worth, because right now, if you trade, say, Oh, right now we see Iron Banner's actually top lane to Feng Lin getting kited out there, and right now Racy Dishes just poking a bit. The form Mirage then from above comes in trying to separate the team KDA, and KDA just gonna back off. Don't wanna fight right now when the team's separated. And
Verse of Judgment, it's not going to kill, but he still manages to pick up the kill onto Ozo. Fenglin just showing us how strong this weapon-powered Dashio can be. Look at the attack speed for kiting. All the damage coming out right there. And you talked about Ghostwing before and that KDA didn't go for it. Now is a second opportunity. They've taken Neo Kazuma out of the fight. Their waves are decently pushed, I'd say, and so it could be a good opportunity there. Seraphic Flare, the Mortal Wound, will it kill? No, Railing Shah gets out of there alive, and Q&H with a sliver of health follows him as they make their escape. Meanwhile, the rest of KDA are going to pick up the Ghostwing for their team. Now, this could lead into another big team fight for them after they've regrouped and healed back up, or they might even try sneak a not Ghostwing, Black Claw. As we've seen last night, Evil X did that a lot. They'd instantly go Ghostwing straight to Black Claw. However, in this situation, we do see KDA actually a bit low on health. Some of the members there, specifically Balmy right now, as he hasn't gone back, and the wave's starting to push in.
Right now, we are starting to see quite a bit of good trades coming up from KDA. KDA might be catching Ralin Shah out in the top lane.
Well,
so our Storm connects and Iron Badass pulls in Blaber, but Fearless not quite being able to engage or do anything about it.
Slice, if you could just move your mic back. We're getting in the comments that it's a bit close, but we'll see here. KDA start up the Black Claw, and there's going to be a contest from Fearless. Gauntlet is dropped, but it's not really enough to stop the side of Fearless. However, they still secure it for themselves, but now KDA getting engaged on the Impale, landing on two of their members. The turnaround with the Verse of Judgment, massive damage coming out for triple kill on the Ilva, and they managed to get a double kill with the Magnus, the Ace. KDA perfect that, not losing a single member. So this is why I meant when I talked about earlier the KDA team comp, how good it can be for turning around engages where it looked like the side of Fearless had jumped them while they're taking Black Claw. But all of a sudden, thanks to that Verse of Judgment, thanks to the setup coming through from Rose, they were able to really turn around, and it looks like they might even end out the game here as they take down the Armory. The Vein Crystal is all that's left standing. 4 members of the side of Fearless are up. What can they do? Death from above stuns out for Grace. They manage to catch out the Adagio, but it's not in time. The game goes over to the side of KDA. And as in a best-of-3 series first match, over to them, looking good to start things off. And what a game, what a end just there within that last minute, how quickly they were able to close things out.
That was a very nice job, well done by the side of KDA. Fearless, maybe I think they had quite a few good rotations coming here and there into the top lane and the bot lane, but however, at the end, KDA just being able to get the late game team fights, because once you got the late game team fights, you are able to go for objectives, which eventually helps your team gain a larger advantage as, say, an early game team fight where all you could do is just push turrets. And I think also one of the reasons why KDA might have won that one was because they were able to survive to their late game, where I think their team would be at their strongest comm-wise. So that was quite a bit of a job well done by KDA, but we shall see whether Fearless has anything to say in this round 2 of the best of 3 series. And I think we are about to go into round 2.
Looks like we're just getting the teams shuffled, sorted out. Actually, we're having a bit of a lobby switch possibly coming in here. So it looks like we're having a host change. So please wait a moment as we get things sorted, but we should be ready fairly soon. Anything there that you think that maybe the side of Fearless could have done to, change the outcome?
Alright, for Fearless, I feel that they should also be ready to, when Yates someone, your best option is to have your whole team getting ready to pounce on that guy, because
Mhm.
if like there was one part where Blair was so caught out, Yates just put him in, and then Celeste, Ralinsha, they weren't ready to fight, and that was a very wasted pull. That was a really good opportunity for Fearless to just engage, get rid of Blair, go for the rest of KDA, because KDA don't have their fountain, they don't have their aroma. It could just be a free Ghost Wing or Black Claw onto a set of Fearless, and that might have won them the game. But that
Yeah.
one pull, that was a bit not so coordinated for the side of Fearless, and I think they should be working on that.
Yeah, a lot of the time we'd see Yates trying to jump into the back line, right idea, but just not the right timing as well. So it's a lot of that coordination, a lot of the synergy, maybe positioning issues that they weren't able to set up this chain CC, which they had the comp to do so. They had the core collapse on Celeste. They had obviously the pull, which we saw was fairly successful in the early game onto singular targets. Um, and they've obviously got the Impale, but once it gets into those team fight situations, it's quite difficult. They definitely need to try their best to shut down, say, the Adagio whenever he's using Burst of Judgment, or just make sure they can block either that or the ultimate coming out
So,
from the Ilva, because both those things are big AoE CC ultimates that you really have to worry about. Of course, on top of that, you then got the Gauntlet, which is what I think happened in that last fight. They must have used they must have used Crucible to run through the Gauntlet, and then they would have been left without defensive items to really block any of that CC. However, in terms of draft, both teams I think did fine. We talked about
yes.
the pros and cons of each going into that, with both having fairly strong picks on either side. The fact that one team got Magnus, one team got Yates, but really when it came through to the end, there is just that the side of KDA with that ability that they didn't really have to go for the engages so much themselves. They were playing a counter-reactive team, which I think really fit better for them when, say, with picks like a Lance and an Oso pick, because they can be punished quite easy when they jump in and if they're left out position.
In the end, I feel that that game could have gone either way based on the draft. To be honest, like both teams had a decent draft. You have KDA with some sort of a passive aggressive kind of draft that is good for either being on the upper hand of the game or being behind. And then for the side of Fearless, it's a very dive engage kind of draft. Like you just want to catch up members with Yates and then get good engages, try slowly taking out members of KDA one by one, and you could eventually go for dragons due to outnumbering your enemies. So that was a really nice draft coming in from Fearless too. And right now we shall see second draft goes, like whether the side of KDA would want to give Yates over again, knowing that it might have cost them a bit of trouble early on last game, or because you also got to think about it, right? So along with all the CC, there are quite a few that immobilizes their enemies in place. Burst of Judgment, if your enemies are burning with the arcane fire, they're gonna be immobilized when Burst of Judgment comes through and it's not blocked. Then there is the trap coming out from Yuva. It also immobilizes people and roots them in position. So it is a really good setup into Bombi Nation's Chrono Driver, followed by a Seraphim Flare onto the whole enemy team. It's just a very devastating combo when not blocked. And like you said, if the set of Fearless has their block on Arden's Gauntlet and they don't have any more blocks to deal with the CC coming in from KDA, then that combo might be a very devastating combo to deal with.
Yeah,
And
well, that's the whole thing. That is just such a balanced team comp overall when you look at it in that situation. It's easier to see once we actually saw it firsthand played out. Uh, because you talk about there's so much AOE CC opportunities for them, but that only helps them even more with, say, the Magnus setup that really allows him to make use of his ult and hit that easier, as well as get more targets with the passive with I forget what it's called, but the arcane missiles, and then sets up for all that. It's also really good in that you're keeping your backline fairly safe in those situations. Whereas when we look at what happened a lot of the time for Fearless, I mean, Celeste wasn't really. It goes back to this positioning thing that we didn't see Celeste in many good positions where they were rarely able to chain CC. There's one time they were actually trying to gank mid, but luckily Bommy actually dodged out the core collapse. He, instead of running in the predicted direction, kind of stopped for a second and then managed to escape under his tower. So if the team goes once again, if say if Fearless were to go with an engage based chain CC comp, maybe even picking up the rhyme is an option to really help secure those kills easily. But then if you're doing that, I think it's quite important that they once again go with that kind of free man rotation, so you definitely have enough CC to help pick up those kills early and secure things. Kind of like why I suggest is like more of the evil X strategy, whether they came up with it or not, but specifically that team comp, we've been seeing them do a lot of, say, the Lance, the Rhyme, and then just whichever other jungler you want to help slow down or pick up the enemy is really good. Or I say jungler, but it'd be bot laner because Rhyme would be the jungler. My mistake. Anyway, we've got our teams almost ready here, just waiting on one more person, and then we should be back into game. But let us know in chat which team you guys are cheering for, which team you think is going to win this third place spot. Is it going to be KDA or is it going to be Fearless? So far, one game over to the side of KDA. And with the best of two, KDA could close this out in the next, best of three, I mean. KDA could close this out in the next game, or Fearless might make a comeback. We'll see about this. Both teams moving into this top 4 team stage. They
third
were, yeah,
place.
they were even at 5 points, I believe. Let me go back to the schedule, because it was every team except, so Evo X also were at 5 points. It's every team except Astral, I believe. Astral sitting at 6. And then every other team that made it there with 5 points. So these teams, definitely an even matchup. It can go either way, honestly.
Yes, so this is going to be a very even matchup, as you said, and we are gonna just wait on I Am Badass, and we shall be able to keep the game going. And right now, any thoughts of the previous draft? Like, what do you think will be drafted this time? Though after the previous match and knowing what their opponents are capable of for both sides.
Sorry, I'm reminded once per stream whenever I start the tournament streams back up. There's always one time where I get a follow. Sometimes it's sooner, sometimes it's later, and I'm reminded I need to turn down or turn off my follow sound. But thank you for the follow, much appreciated to anyone who decides to. Um, so with the team comp, you were asking if
Now that both sides have already first-hand experience each other's team and what they are capable of, what do you think might be the priority bands this time?
Ooh,
Like,
that's the thing. You talked about the Yates ban, and that could be a possibility because it had a lot of potential for the side of Fearless. But this time we're going to see Fearless on the blue side, which opens up the question of, is Magnus going to be banned out by the side of KDA? My guess is most likely we will see it banned out. But if it's banned out, it really doesn't stop the side of KDA going for a similar comp. I think what we're going to see here is most possibly a Lance first pick if we see standard bans of, say, like Magnus, Yates, Grumpjaw, and then I know something in there could be a possibility. So in that case, I feel like we might see a similar Fearless comp come out. Um, but you know KDA's team probably the best. What would you say that Bomby is more comfortable on, Celeste or Scarf?
Bombi, he five. I think he has 5 stars on both. But in terms of what he's more comfortable of, I think his Celeste is actually quite. I think he's more comfortable on that hero because most of the time when I play Bombi, it's him mostly going on to Celeste, and then we are able to get the first blood due to him being able to catch out someone using a core collapse. Maybe the enemy roamer has been in a bit of a tight spot by overextending into the mid lane, and then this gives Bombi the opportunity to just stun him up, go for that core collapse, trying to lead hit the Helio and then Supernova. But I think both are really good picks for Bombi here, and we don't really. I don't think Arden is as frequent of a roamer as he is, at least in very high elos. So I think that is a unique thing about Blair is that he just picks Arden comfortably, and
Well, the
yeah,
Arden ended up working out. We talked about that AoE CC, the amount of CC that really has to be blocked out if you want to get on the enemy team, and just how well that goes into a team comp that wants to really engage heavily on you. So, if Fearless, I would say for the side of KDA, if they hold off on which support they pick and kind of read what Fearless are doing with the draft, and then consider what kind of support they want, that could be a good opportunity. But in the same hand, they don't want to let some OP Roma picks slip up. Like maybe if Lance is open or if Yates is open, which I'm not really. It's hard to say what's going to come through in this draft. But let's look at the in terms of meta per se meta Romas would probably be Yates, Arden. I feel like we don't see Finn enough anymore.
yes, because I feel Finn. Okay, Finn is a good pick when Yates is open, right? So what? Personally, I feel if Yates is open, take Finn first because you got to remember. So if Yates is open and you take Yates, the enemy takes Finn. You are not gonna be able to pressure mid enough. But if you take Finn first, it gives the enemy no reason to take Yates. I mean, unless your team is very like they have very bad map awareness or they are just unable to get early vision down and get yanked in by Yates when you're not there for them. So I think the side that takes Finn might be a bit more advantageous. Like it really depends on how the game goes, right? But
Yeah.
draft wise, I would say if you see someone take Yates, Finn is a good option because Finn can't get put in. He is immune to stuns
Well,
and converts those to
see,
silences.
I was thinking that, and generally that is the case. You want to have him be able to body block for your team and such, and if anyone does dive in, he has that quibble, but that's obviously not until level 8 where it can really stun out the enemy and be so impactful. Uh, but specifically against these heavy engage comps, the Arden didn't play out too bad. You saw a lot of situations, and this goes back to possibility or potential that Yates pick had, and why KDA might consider banning it because it is actually quite a threat. Just the potential it has to get those picks and to turn things in favor of their team. The team that has the Yates pickup, but I think another possible situation to say if Yates isn't in the picture, he gets banned out. Another possible hero that sometimes comes up into anti-dive team comps is the Lyra with the Bright Bulwark. However, if there's a Fortress on the enemy team, this is kind of contradictory because if Fortress manages to get that mortal wound off, then your heal is going to be a lot less effective. So I prefer seeing Grace being picked up, honestly, because I think that Holy Nova is a lot more effective. And one, it also stuns out the enemy rather than just keeping them at bay. So I quite like Grace as a heavy counter to that. And I think Finn and Arden have their own strengths in that sense. Otherwise, I guess Sam Feng is technically a top laner or support we sometimes see.
Yeah.
Um, but finally, we're done discussing things, hopefully, as it looks like everyone is coming online. And trust me, we know you guys probably don't want to sit here forever listening to us. You want to see some gameplay, and so do we. So let's hope we get into the second match in just a second here as things are getting started back up. and now for 10-minute queue, says GatorX. The SEA queue time. So not even SEA, that's just the VG. It's Q Glory. Welcome to Q Glory, where you wait longer than you actually play, and then people just dodge. But we're hoping no one dodges. We hope we don't have to wait too long. Let's see how it goes.
It's okay. My team is very dodging, especially when Rose or Bombies AFKs. And then we finally got an 8-minute queue and someone didn't accept.
Oh man.
There was once my girlfriend finally agreed to play with us, and then we dodged twice and everyone rage quit because of Rose.
And someone dodged Q. Maybe Suckiness decided that they're going to cancel Q. Not too sure what's going on here. You guys don't get to see what's going on behind the scenes. Instead, just get to look at this very plain graphic on the screen in front of you if you haven't sunk those names into your minds already.
So
there we
right
go.
now we are to the draft.
So
this time Phil.
Yep.
Oh, never mind. This time Fearless on the blue side, KDA on the red side. Fearless might be recognizing that Magnus threat coming in from Bombi last game. Don't want to give it over, even though they're on the blue side, and we might see the Magnus ban coming through from Razylicious.
Well, Fearless just starting it off with the Magnus ban. And Yates in return. So 2 bans, 2 picks that we had in the previous game, in fact, that we noted were very strong and very, I'd say, fairly key to why the teams won in those with those team comps. But Fearless being on blue side, by banning that out, it could be saying they don't want to go for well, they're obviously not going to be leaving Magnus open, which I'm always a bit against as a blue side pick. I think leaving Magnus open and forcing the other team to ban it out, you have a lot more flexibility with how the draft goes by doing that. But they just don't see it happening in their team comp. Looks like they're going to possibly hope for either Lance pick first or Samfeng, depending on what gets banned out. Hey, you can see KDA considering, do we go Samfeng, do we go Fortress? That means Fortress also on the table. A Celeste pick first. Now,
I think there might be priority picks, yeah.
Yeah, Celeste pick going over first would be interesting. And a Ringo pick would be even more interesting. But they go for the Celeste, and I think that's fine. When you look at Celeste compared to Scarf, they both do really good late game damage. They both have really good range. But Celeste has a slight advantage with the core collapse being hard CC, and I think that is more so going to play into what the kind of team comp they're going to put together here than, say, a Scarf. A secondary possible pick to that could have been like a Samuel, where we've seen some self-sustaining mid lane mages, which allows a roamer to roam and help out in other lanes. And in response to that, KDA have gone for the Adagio and the Grumpjaw pick. So both strong heroes. We saw how strong. Who was it playing KDA? Who was it playing Adagio last game? Oh no.
Feng Lin. Feng Lin was on Adagio and he was playing that last game in the bot lane. And someone might have disconnected. Yep, someone disconnected from the draft, I guess.
Well,
And welcome to SEA.
another year or so. Call me back when VG Esports is actually exists.
VG
Maybe
Esports
I'll take a
2019.
time machine. Actually, go back to 2017. That's the good times.
That was a good year for esports indeed. And last year was a bit quiet on the side of SEMC. Like the the VPL was very late in the year. Like they didn't have VPL in the earlier half of last year. Like they only informed the community like I think around July. So VPL wasn't really there, and even the production quality of VPL, right? Like there was a studio set up, but the graphics wise and
Yeah, I
a
mean,
bit of
Pine
the
League is
background production.
obviously just 10 times better than that. 10 times better. Zero budget, just zero budget, but 10 times better. Obviously, I'm joking, but I and I'm sure as everyone who's involved some way, one way or another in VG esports, or even if like you guys who are watching VG esports, or interested into just competitive vainglory, I'm sure we all share the same feeling of we want to see more VG esports, and that's why we're here. That's why we're doing a community cup. That's why we're got these teams together from Southeast Asia, and we're giving it our best. So let's hope these teams are as well as they fight for the third place spot.
This will be we really get to finally see some action in SEA VG esports, and looks like that Fortress pick coming out from Ralin Shah. They want to go for a bit of a dive com again. They want to do those engages like last
Oh,
match.
now this
Ooh,
is
Sam.
interesting if they go for that Samuel pick. They were hovering it, but they don't go for it in the end. Instead, they end up picking up Sky, which they played in the previous game, and it wasn't going too bad. Sky was actually winning out against Grace up in that top. But look what could be around the corner for KDA. They're considering the Rhyme pick. And oh, I do. Oh, and
Baptiste.
Batiste, Rhyme and Batiste. This is going to be very frustrating for anyone that has to deal with those two in being
Yes,
chased
Rhyme and
down. So
Baptiste are a really high
are they gonna
level
do
combo
it is
right
the
there.
question though. No, they go for the Grace pick instead. So still keeping to that. I think that's kind of reading into Fearless Comp and going, okay, we still need something to counter engage. I kind of say counter engage is really when the side of Fearless are going to dive in onto you if you have an answer to that. But right now, the only one who's going to be so deep in the front lines
Top
is going to
lane
be that
Samuel.
Fortress. And they picked up a Samuel. Oh no, we've seen this before where one team will actually oh no, I'm getting confused. I was gonna say we've seen this before, but I was actually playing off stream with Jalal and some other players, and we came up against I think Crayon, and we just took all of the mages. But they're not gonna do that. We took the Celeste, the Samuel, and the Scarf. They were considering it, but they're instead beefing up their front line a
Tony.
bit more with the Tony pickup. So
Are we looking
interesting.
at a Tony Rome or a Fortress Rome? I think
I
Tony
would say
Rome might
Tony,
be the
yeah.
answer.
Tony most likely. Hmm.
And Varia again from KDA. We seen it last night, and now we are gonna see again Bombi Nation going on the Varia, and we are gonna see how this works out for the side of KDA. Who do you think won the draft here, Delta?
It is. I feel like the side of KDA have a more balanced team comp, if it makes any sense. But I
I
do
think
like the
the
Celeste pick for the side of Fearless. Definitely one of the picks that stands out most for Celeste and Fortress.
yes.
But trying to look at this in a overall like situation. If Tony and Fortress try dive in, if KDA play it the same way they did, and instead of trying to engage so much themselves, but just shut down anyone who engages onto them, I think they should be fairly safe. Vaya has a dash to get out of there. She also has the Anvil's Hammer to get some AoE damage down. And then you've got the Grace, which we saw previous game, and I don't think Batiste and Adagio really need to be explained further. So that's probably why I'm leaning towards KDA this game.
I think the Tony pickup from South is interesting, but at the same time, I think there could have been better picks right here, because if you want to take Tony, right, I don't think Fortress is going to be good, because if you take Tony, most likely you're going to be playing a pure comp. You want to be defending your mages, especially when you picked up the Samuel, you picked up the Celeste. Then I think Fortress could have been switched to something better with a bit more CC than, say, Hard Engage. But we shall see.
I would disagree. I'd say Tony has some engage with him being able to chase enemies down with that triple hit for the stun. So... And considering that Tony's picked up the Stormguard banner for himself, so there's 3 people on the side of Fearless with that Stormguard banner, either could say he just wants to help out his mid laner get that blue buff easier, or he could be trying to possibly look towards roaming elsewhere and helping out other lanes or invading the enemy jungle. But so far, fairly passive game between both teams.
Resilious just trying to poke Yukino down a bit. Just now pushing him down into the top lane tower of KDA, and right now Resilious trying to make use of that range, trying to poke Yukino and punish him for clearing CS right there. So really nice trades by Resilious onto Yukino.
Oh, here comes Rose looking towards the mid lane, and they have vision over that bush. This could be the first gank, first engage here. Drops down the Ordained onto Raylan Shah, but Raylan Shah standing their ground, actually going to turn around with the core collapse onto Blau. Blau going low, could be the first kill for KDA, and a 2v3 situation as we talked about this before, but making sure your team is able to follow up with CC is so important, and there we kind of saw that as Rose kind of going in solo, and then Blau followed up a second too late and got punished for it. I'm a badass following Rose into the jungle could be dangerous though, as Rose saying, well, your support, I have Stormguard banner, and that's more than enough to take you down. 1-for-1 moving in as they trade out the kill.
Getting pushed down in the top tower, Feng Lin going solo, just now getting bullied out by Jacob C and Neo Kazuma. So right now, Neo Kazuma and Feng Lin back here. Blair were not gonna quite hit that on Neo Kazuma, and that didn't stop the recall. But right now, fairly even game going on both sides of KDA and Fearless. So we shall be waiting to see a bit more action. Meanwhile, Yukino getting pushed under his turret by Razylicious, knowing that Razylicious has the upper hand right now, and he's just going to try wait for the creeps, try to get the creeps when it hits the tower, but Razylicious still being able to apply pressure with his range. I'm badass looking to steal that with the Stormguard banner.
Oh, but here comes Neo Kazuma able to secure it, and they stop Blau, the stun from I'm a Badass actually stop Blau from getting that Holy Nova, but it looks like they're going to go down. They try to turn around for the trash talk, but they don't get the fortified health off in time. So right now, kill lead in favor of KDA just by 1, but gold lead slightly in favor of the side of Fearless.
Trading 1 life of Fearless or an extra CP buff on their team, so that's a bit.
I would say it's worth. You get the XP and you get the gold. Of course, you get some XP and gold from kills as well, but it's not like there are any big kill bounties up at the moment. In fact, only 2 deaths have actually been from that Tony so far. Oh, Blah diving in once again. Needs to be careful because Between I'm a Badass and Raylan Shah, they really can chain together their CC quite well if they get the stun off with the triple hit and then into the core collapse. Could be good. Raylan Shah making their way up to top lane here as they see Fanglin and Rose trying to push it in. I would say they kind of came out a bit too early, but looks like they're able to justify for us. They're getting a lot of damage onto Rose. Neokazuma joining in the fight, and they should be able to pick up the kill before he finds the safety of his tower. I'm a Badass gets the taunt off onto Fangling, but it's not really going to be put to use. They're going to go out there with a kill in their pockets, and Neokazuma just kind of roaming around the enemy jungle here, seeing what he can find. He spots out Blower, going to be putting down a bit of damage while Samuel continues to push that lane in. But meanwhile, while this is all going on, you can actually see on the minimap there, Yukino has made their way into the enemy jungle, only now to get spot out by I'm a Badass. Ooh, good choice to go over the wall like that. Otherwise, they possibly could have been caught out by Razorlicious coming out from the bot lane.
Yes, that could have been really devastating, but nice vision in their jungle by Fearless near the WP tree, and just now spotting out Yukino trying to get a bit of that gold oak, but not really getting it because he got caught out. So really nice vision.
Look at this, Neokazuma kind of knowing the timing for when that crystal treant's going to be up. He dives in, does not get it, goes over to Bommy. Now he's going low. He is going to stay alive for just a second. Death from above, keeping the rest of KDA at bay, but Anvil's hammer chasing them back, allowing them, not allowing them to stay still. Blau in the backline with the Holy Nova gets a knock up onto I'm a Badass, but they trade out stuns, and the fight's going back and forth as Yukino hasn't backed out here. Oblivion to put the Grumpjaw to sleep, and that damage coming on through is going to secure it. Solar Storm not necessary. Razorlicious diving in deep to try pick up Blau. They don't get the kill. They go so very low themselves, and they're going to get taken out by Rose, who was just on the rotation back there. So kills being traded left and right. I would say fairly even between both teams in that situation.
Meanwhile, Feng Lin just gonna get pushed under his tower, gonna get really pressured right there by Neokazuma. And right now, Neokazuma used the opportunity trying to go and steal the farm, but gets spotted out by Rose and Feng Lin. The rest of KDA is coming in from Neokazuma. Neokazuma makes a big mistake going for that and gets 4-man rotated on in the top side jungle.
I would say good reactions there from the side of KDA to have enough people rotate there to just secure that kill and punish him for that. They might also pick up I'm a Badass here. One more hit will do it. They get him with the Stormforged Spear, and now Rose joining in the fight as well. They could pick up even more, but Jacobs isn't backing out. He's going to be able to help secure the kill onto Grace, and maybe he should have backed out as he's going to get chased down here, but he has the potion on hand, is safe for now. Good use of a core collapse to stop Yukino there from diving onto Raylan Shah. And once again, you can see the two mid lane mages just putting down so much pressure. And when we look at terms of, oh, Jacobs might be having some connection issues here. But no, he's come back in time, able to back out. No free kills going over to the side of KDA just yet. But if you look in terms of mid laners, just the range and the damage that I'd say Celeste and Samuel can put out is just so good at controlling the enemy team. Whereas I think for Bommy on this Vaya, it's more about single target damage, apart from the ultimate with the Anvil's hammer. So Fearless have a lot of control when those two are together.
I would say right now, game going on both KDA and Fearless, and right now we are looking at a small 400-500 goal lead on the side of Fearless, so not too bad. And right now Jacob Z not quite being able to hit Blaver with the Melissan Verdict, and Razorlicious getting a few pokes of Blaver, and Blaver might be going a bit low. And I didn't see that Radin Shah goes down from
Yeah,
variant.
that's Bommy just not being. No one was contesting them. Bommy just kept attacking Raylan Shah. And we talked about this just before. The single target damage that Vaya has still needs to be respected. Meanwhile, Fengling getting caught out. They tried to use the Verse of Judgment, but get slept instead. The kill going to go over to the side of Fearless. And now Death from above coming in big on that backline. Looks like Yukino stuffed up Neo Kazuma, but Neo Kazuma still just going to be like, okay, I'm here again, and picks up another kill or helps his team secure a kill there. Blauer going fairly low as he dives in, trades out for the Grace, and now Bommy in that front line. What can they do? They get shut down with the core collapse, and now it's Jacobs and Raylan Shah chasing down Rose for the double kill for not quite the ace, as Fenglin back up, actually able to actually back up from that. I was going to say be able to escape, but they were the first to go down, leaving the mid lane now open for the side of Fearless. So quite a back and forth fight for both these teams, but you could see that Celeste and Samuel being able to stay alive to the very end of that fight, and it's only going to get worse for the side of KDA to deal with those two as the game goes on.
Yes, because right now, if they are not able to finish Celeste, right, because Celeste is the range for the South Fearless, it really gives them a lot of poking range, and not to mention these two mages deal significantly high damage, especially with Celeste, Helio, Genesis, and Supernova, along with the combo of Drifting Duck and Malice and Verdict from Jacob Z. So we got to see how that goes. Right now, Neo Kazuma getting caught out by 4 members of the side of KDA while he's trying to play passive and waiting for Feng Lin to push that wave. I am badass. And Jacob Z, no clue on what's going on. Jacob Z just trying to hide there, put down the camp, get stuffed up by Gramjaw. Ranisha Kami, the core collapse stands up.
Ooh, you can see how big these core collapses are coming into play, but it's not going to be enough when they're always outnumbered, and continuously KDA just going to push on through, picking up the Samuel, picking up the Celeste. And this is where it goes back to why I said at the start of the game, believe in KDA's draft. It seems more balanced. When you look at the CC or hard CC, that's easy to get off. Core collapse is the biggest threat and the first thing that comes to mind. So, oh, look at that. The Oblivion Ordained actually going to catch out Tony there, going to take down I'm a Badass. Rose with the, Fearsome Shade into the Ordained was a really nice combo there, forcing him off the tower and forcing him into that stun, where they're just able to pick up a kill. Now they're positioned around Black Claw. They have some good vision around it too, but I think really what we've seen along this meta is go for the Ghost Swing first, once you manage to get a pick, and then try to turn things around. Look at this, Vaya picking up a kill onto Samuel, and the trade out is going to be Batiste ends up falling. Anvil's Hammer has been dropped. Can KDA continue to turn this one around? And they try and chase down Razorlicious there. Core Collapse going to stop Grumpjaw for just a second, but it does not stop the rest of the team from finding their way onto I'm a Badass and picking up the double kill. So now with 4 members alive is, I'd say, more than enough to start a Dragon if they so choose to.
Yes, but looks like KDA, I think they are going to go for it. And they're actually going to go for it right now. Black Claw getting started for the side of KDA. No vision from Fearless as of now. Right now, Neo Kazuma and Jacob Z might suspect that Black Claw already. They are coming for it, but we are not sure whether this is going to be enough. But I don't think it's
Solar Storm almost. But good job from Blower there to really hold the line, hold that in between the river and blue buff area, because it was kind of risky by trying to steal that blue buff away. A lot of the teams will try to chase you out of that area, and if they manage to do so, then they'd obviously see what was going on with Black Claw, but they kept it together, allowed their team to capture it, and now we see both side lanes being pushed with Freemen focusing the mid lane alongside Black Claw. They're going to back off from that now as they see they're not really getting much out of it. They managed to take a top tower for themselves. They could possibly go for a Ghost Swing, but Fearless going to be right on their tail, probably looking to get some vision down over the pit now. I'm a Badass coming over to this Crystal Tree. Not sure if he's going to be able to steal that one. Instead, decides to back out, doesn't want to risk his life. And
Right
in the
now,
bot,
Rose
oh,
being spotted out by Radin Shah. I am Badass might be coming for him. Meanwhile, the rest of KDA, Clever, are coming for I am Badass, and he just gets stuffed
oh,
out by
look at that, the timing, the stuffed to spit him out right into the Holy Nova. I really like the synergy there. So, really making use of the team comp and the CC they have available to them. Now, once again, they have that man advantage, but up in the top lane, it looks like they're trying to push Razorlicious back. The team's kind of spread out over the map, so I'm not sure if Stein the Ghostwing is the best kind of idea for them, as Raylan Shah and Jacobs are there to contest it. Solar Storm going to go out, go wide. I don't think they knew where the rest of them were, but Rose is fairly low in the situation. Core Collapse catches them out on the edge, and they pick up the kill. There's going to be Yukino trying to run away to safety, but instead finds himself, finds Blower. It's going to be taken up by Razorlicious, who comes around the corner, pick up that kill, and now Fearless have the advantage, and this is what I meant by KDA kind of a bit risky there to just start it up with 3 members alone.
very good catch up by Jacob Z and Ralin Shah, and that was a really good kill going over to the side of Fearless, because now without that Baptiste, they were able to actually go secure the ghosting for themselves, and by the time KDA has rotated, they also had Fearless rotating up into helping Jacob Z and Ralin Shah to do the ghost ring and fend off KDA. So that was a really nice rotation by the side of Fearless, and maybe KDA should have rotated a little earlier to prevent losing Rose in that fight. But right now, a full ghost ring buffed up Fearless might be looking to make a comeback here. But right now we see Jacob Z getting caught out in the top lane by the members of KDA, and right now KDA is just rotating together, trying to catch up for what they have been doing for the past 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, look at that damage coming through from Raylan Shah on the Celeste over the wall after Armin Badass landed the taunt. And they're trying to at least push KDA back, who thought they could catch out Jacobs alone, but they're not going to be able to do so. There's Ambul's Hammer in the backline, and Burst of Judgment dropping down in the front. They take down the Fortress, who dives in right deep into the middle of the enemy team. Meanwhile, Jacobs just trying to kite back. Celeste gets caught out alone. That's going to be Jacobs to follow, and the only one left standing, or the only 2 left standing, I should say, is I'm a Badass, but Sky making their way in the bot lane. Trying to push that one out. Looks like they should be able to get that base tower, so I'd say at least they got something out of it. Still decent trade, but the side of KDA secure the Black Claw for themselves, and Blower on the Grace able to hold back the Sky for now, so not losing anything else. So, hard to say. I'd say for the fact that Fearless had already lost that fight, it was actually alright that Sky was in the bot lane and pushing that out to get the tier 2 tower. But now's the question, will KDA do anything with this Black Claw? Ghostwing isn't up right now, so there's not really any turnaround option here. And they've kind of wasted their time. Celeste keeping them at bay with the damage coming out from those Heliogenesis. And now they're going for the engagement, as they know that KDA are fairly low for the most part. Here comes Jacob with the Oblivion on the backline, forces out a block, and Grumpjaw going fairly low as we see Fortress jumping in once again, more so just soaking up damage for the rest of his team, but his team isn't there for the follow-through. Solar Storm comes in, and there's going to be death from above, splitting apart KDA. However, double kill, 2 for 2 going over for both teams. We're now in a 3v3 situation. Bommy just dives on into the backline, picks up the kill, picks up the triple, the pentakill. Oh my lord, and that just shows even though single target damage is all you need coming through with Bommy, just picking them off one by one. My lord, it should be enough to finish out the game possibly as they take down the tower. The Armory should follow within a matter of seconds, and it's 7 seconds until Sky is even up. This is going to be KDA taking game number 2 and securing themselves the 3rd place win. Bommy Nation with the pentakill is going to get stunned out by the death from above, but surely KDA managed to finish it. The TP coming in just to secure, and that is going to be game. Oh my lord, Bommy 14, 1, and 10 on that Vaya. You mentioned it when he secured the Vaya in draft. You said this is Bomby on Vaya, and that's the best kind of example we could get.
Yes, Varia Bombi right now, he has playing Varia quite a bit in rank, and this performance isn't what like we've seen the first time. Like, even though there were some situations against the better teams out there, as we've seen Varia into Astro Esports or Varia into EvoLex, maybe it might not have worked out on those occasions, but Bombi is actually capable of playing Varia. And right now, all right, so there were a few things about the match I wanted to talk about. First was what the good part about Fearless Com was. So there was that one push, if you remember, where the second Black Claw push by KDA. So KDA got the Black Claw. Ghostwing wasn't up. They were trying to push that mid lane, but Fearless was just able to fend them off easily. They have like 3 range heroes. They have like Celeste being able to just drop her Helio and zone out the enemies, Jacob Z going in with Drifting Dart and Malice and Verdict. So that was a really upside for Fearless team comp here. But the side of KDA, I think gameplay wise, they were able to catch out members of Fearless individually, because we've seen a lot in the top lane or in the bot lane. We always see the members of KDA identifying that someone has pushed a little too far and coming in from behind and in front, trying to surround their opponents and catch. And once they catch their opponents out, this kind of forces, if Fearless fights, they are going to be in a 4v5 situation. Or this also allows the side of like KDA to go for objectives or try to push on different lanes to try add a lot more pressure, especially when you're one man down. You got to be able to withstand more pressure on each lane since you have lesser manpower. So that was really good for the side of KDA, and I think GG well played for both teams.
I think you mentioned this before, but Vaya can work out. It can also be shut down, like we saw last night when it going up against EvoX. I think a big play into why Fearless weren't really able to take care of the Vaya was they didn't have the CC. I mentioned this before, that Celeste was the only one with some real solid CC that you can be sure is like more than likely going to hit if well positioned, or is definitely going to stun unless they block it out. And because of that, you know, a lot of the time it's just with that only relying on the core collapse being up. It allowed why I saw in a lot of the fights, Balmy was kind of just left unnoticed, standing at range, just shooting out lightning, putting down big single target damage, and then just in that late game, just how strong that Vaya build could be. Especially, I don't think Balmy even really had any defense. Maybe a reflex. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that, but overall, just a very kind of glass cannon build, but is more than enough to really weave in through the team and chase down those kills. So I think it comes into more Fearless. Their team comp wasn't really prepared or able to handle that. Fearless didn't really have the CC to deal with a lot of that.
I think we could see that for both games. I think it was really a very even matchup, and we see a lot of back and forth fights coming in from both teams. But I think second game, I think it was the rotations that won KDA the game because of the catch-ups. They were able to perform with that team synergy, like catching out Jacob Z at top lane or some member of Fearless at top lane, trying to push down that tower.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really good because when your enemy has a one-man disadvantage, you can try to get an objective to force a fight. You can go for split pushing. You can try to engage on, like, force and engage, try to get onto your enemies and make them lose even more people. And this is like how most snowballs start, right? Like, one small little advantage will lead to the next, and it will slowly tumble down into a giant snowball. And this is what I think KDA might have done in the second game, but really even match up just that. Well, maybe for the side of, let's say, Fearless, they should have had more communications on where the members of Fearless are going, who is missing from their lane, and that might have prevented that strategy of catching out people from top lane by KDA to actually work out there. So yeah, very good games on both sides.
Yep, I actually have this last fight, which I think I can bring up for a second. And we'll just see. Do I have that on display? There we go. So this last fight that broke out, let's just take a look at it. So Fearless with the engagement here, try and go onto the enemy team as they know that at least Yukino is very low. You'll see Neo Kazuma in a second try jump in onto the backline. Meanwhile, we look at the positioning. They're not able to shut down Bommy because Bommy positions themselves to the very backline of the team, drops the Anvil's hammer, and while all this chaos is going on, they managed to pick up the kill onto this guy who was still and probably didn't notice it dropping down. They then, and I have no clue when they even managed to pick up the fortress kill. I honestly don't know how that's a penta, but they easily then dive into the back where they avoid the Tony instantaneously and just pick up the kills onto the Samuel and Celeste like so. But very well played overall. We'll see here. Oh no, don't tell me it was when Bommy actually dashed back to what? No, wait. I think it would have been Bommy with the Anvil Hammer would have also taken down Neo Kazuma. Let's see. He actually spent some time focusing down Neo Kazuma while this guy gets picked up as well. But yeah, that's the highlight for today, or at least for so far today, because it's not the end yet. That's just our third place matches being finished for now. Team KDA securing that third place spot. GG, well played to Fearless to get this far and make it to the top 4 teams. But later we will have the final match.
5 hours.
Yep. The final match between Astral Esports and Team Evil X, and I believe you said that's 5 hours from now. Well, it's going to be at I heard it's 7.
Under 5 hours.
Yeah, I heard it's 7:30 p.m. SGT. Honestly, I will prefer, and I'll just check with KDA and Hidi. I don't want to muck anything up, but if it could be 7 p.m. But for now, it's going to be 7:30. Either way, make sure you're following here and keep an eye out on Twitter, either KDA's Twitter or my own, to see when it goes live. Otherwise, yeah. Till then, take care. Hope to see you back. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks to the players who played. Thanks to Slice for casting with me. My name's iRequestADuel, and I'll see you guys later.